button. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out today's broadcast here. I got a couple things open I didn't want to have open there. My name is Jonathan. If this is your first time checking out one of my broadcasts, a little bit about me. I am 39 years old. I'm married and I've been overweight my whole life. Back in the end of 2020, I decided it was time that I needed to get control of my weight. I had allowed myself to get to the highest weight I've ever been. And I knew that it wasn't sustainable, and that if I kept going the way that I was going, that eventually it would cost me my life. So I started on November 1st with this challenge. I started off with a what was planned to be a 30-day water fast. I had done some extended fasting in the past and decided to start this off with a 30-day water fast. I knew that there was a few things, I've dieted my whole life, and so I've had lots of experience losing weight and gaining weight and trying to use the parts of those things in the past that have worked to try to get something going with this weight loss. And a few things I knew is that I needed to somehow hold myself accountable, because anytime I would start a diet and not let people know about it, or not kind of be open about what I was doing, that I would end up falling, I would end up failing very quickly with the diet, or I wouldn't really get started at all. So I knew I needed to keep myself accountable. I needed to be open with my family, my wife and friends, that I was going to do it. And I thought that by starting this video series, there wouldn't really be anything I could do to keep me more accountable than that. I also know that I'm very good at losing weight, and I've lost lots of weight over the years, but I can never keep it off. And so another goal with this was to keep going and keep doing something for 3 years, not to just do something till I get to my goal weight, but to do something for a long time, so that I develop habits, and so that I develop, you know, so I learn how to eat this way, or to survive and to get to a healthy weight. Because lots of times I would get to a weight, but then I never really taught myself how to eat properly, and I would gain the weight back. And so those are kind of the big reasons why I started this channel. And things have been going great so far. Going into today is weigh-in Wednesday. I was 340.2 pounds last Wednesday. I'm going to get on the scale here now and weigh in. Today's day 193. And we're going to weigh in. Not looking forward to it, but we'll see what the scale says. $341.4. So that is a 1.2 pound gain. It's kind of weird because it's been a little while since I gained weight, but in my head, I don't feel like it's been that long since I gained weight on the scale. But it was about a month ago, or maybe 4 weeks ago, that I had a 1 pound gain. And then shortly after that second fast, I gained like a half a pound 1 week at that point. But I had a 1.2 pound gain here. I'm going to update the info on here and then talk a little bit about it, because it doesn't necessarily reflect the week I had overall. The last week, just to kind of go through, on Wednesday, it was it happened to be my birthday on that way in, and when I had gotten to work that day, I kind of checked my weight, and I was really close to being uh, at a point where I could lose another, have another 5 pound week. And so I didn't eat much last Wednesday, which kind of helped keep that weight down, or bring that weight down a little bit more, I believe, that day. But uh, leading into last Wednesday, I had 3 weeks in a row where I lost more weight than I expected, I guess, or I had been. I had a 3 pound week, I had a 5 pound week, and then the weigh in on last Wednesday, it was like 4 pounds that I had lost. And so over the course of that month, I lost 12 pounds. Uh, and so, and each of the weigh ins, I was, like I said, I was surprised each time at how much I had lost. And so, uh, but so I weighed in at 340.2 last Wednesday, and it was great. It was awesome. It was really kind of a great birthday kind of. It was nice to have such a great loss, and to, kind of, I've been doing so great, for 6 months. I've lost over 175 pounds. And so I just kind of ate normal for dinner and ate food. But we had, a bean brownie that Carrie makes, and I had her make miso, which has some sodium in it, but it's, I don't know, it's a whole thing. And we eat miso. We don't add any other things that have any sodium in them, but that. But the or yeah, and so on Thursday and Friday, I have the scale here and I get on it. And I had gotten on the scale. I'm not sure if it might have been Friday I'd gotten on the scale. And I was up to like 344 and some change. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but I was up like 3 or 4 pounds from the Wednesday when I weighed in to Friday. And I weigh in dressed, so clothing can have some factor of whether I'm wearing shorts or pants or long sleeves or short sleeves. But I was up going into Friday, I was at 344, or I was up from Wednesday. And so I knew at that point that it was going to be tough for me to lose that 4 pounds to get back to 340 and still lose more weight, And um, the other thing is, this scale is not the greatest scale in the world. I bought the scale because it has a high limit. It's, I've used it, but I could get on the scale, and it sometimes, uh, I get on the scale and I take a piece of clothing off and then get on again, and I weigh the same, or I'll get on the scale uh, and get off and do nothing and then get back on, and it'll have a different weight. So it's not a perfect scale either. So I don't hold it as if it is, or treat it as if it is in my head. But so for me to be at 341.4 after being at 344 at the end of last week, I'm really excited that I didn't gain more or stay at that point. I mean, that weight is coming back off, so it's not anything that has me concerned in any way. I've got to say, at this 340 area I am at, I feel really good as far as my mobility and my just walking around, the way the clothing fits me. I feel slimmer. Um, and so I'm really excited to continue to lose weight from this point and to continue to have that great feeling. But as far as the weight goes, the 1.2 pounds gained, I'm not worried about it. Just like I wasn't worried about it a month ago when I had a pound gain, I believe. It's just fluctuations that my body's going to go through. But overall, things are trending in the weight loss, towards more and more weight loss. And it's tough because, like, I want to look at that and see that 1.2 and be like, what was the reason? What did I do? Where did I screw up? And it's not, that's not the case with it. It's not something where it was anything I did wrong. It was just, it's just the way I lost 12 pounds in the 3 weeks leading up, having a 1 pound gain. So in 4 weeks, I've lost 11 pounds. That is a great average. If, at this point, especially after being, that's up until that point, I had, lost 165 pounds up until a month ago, and then losing the remainder. So it's not uh, it's not anything that I'm discouraged by or anything that makes me want to change anything that I'm doing. I know that uh, it's probably a better reflection of my weight. Like I said, I felt really good on the 5th, and I kind of helped push it by not eating anything that day in order to try to get even more of a weight loss. Had I eaten throughout the day last Wednesday, I might have been at 341.4, and not 340.2, but I was whatever. It was just what it was. So yeah, that is my weigh in Wednesday. I guess I didn't ask if anybody has any non-scale victories. I'd love to hear your non-scale victories, or if anybody did weigh in, I'd love to hear how you did on the scale this week as well. If anybody has any questions for me, I can go over that too. Let's see what I have here. Sorry, I'm just writing something down so I don't forget later. The let's see here. Weigh in here. I didn't really even think about any non-scale victories since yesterday. There's again, it's little things. It's like we have a pantry where we have our food, and it's kind of, we have this thing that kind of makes it difficult to get in, and every time I kind of squeeze myself in there and like get into the pantry now, I kind of I acknowledge it in my head how funny it is that I would not have been able to squeeze into the space that I'm in at that time. That's one of those kind of, and I talk about those a lot with the chairs and things like that, but it's the things that I'm I interact with them, like just seeing how much easier the things that I do on a daily basis, or a regular basis, how much easier they get, or how I used to have to like stretch to reach for something, whereas now I can get a little closer to it because there's, I can squeeze into the opening, things like that. And so those are always good non-skill victories for me. And I'm trying to, there was something I feel like I was gonna mention, and now I'm not seeing it. Carrie says that she is down 0.2 pounds from 2 weeks ago, because she had, I don't know if she was up last week or if she didn't weigh in last week, but she is down 0.2 pounds, which is great. It's something where Carrie's also lost a lot of weight over the past 5 months, 6 months since switching to this type of diet as well. So it is something we know that the weight's gonna come off slow, and a 0.2 down is better than a 0.2 up, or a 2.2 up, or because in 2 weeks I could really do a lot of damage to my weight, I'm sure, if I was to just let things go back to the way they were. Um, and that kind of it's weird. I was having a conversation with a friend, and it's and I'm sure I've talked about it here. Is that um, I really want people to entertain the idea of a whole food plant based diet, and it's not something that people will just gravitate towards. But as I lose weight, that I think people definitely um, are more receptive, or they're more interested, or they're asking more questions. So that's nice. Um, but it's just weird because the whole food plant based diet has a stigma around, well, I think that there's like a veganism stigma, and then uh and so I guess what it's all kind of leaning to, we've watched a lot of movies, we've done a lot of, I've read some books and some different things, and we watched a movie last night that is not so much about the benefits of a whole food plant based diet, but it was about the negative effects. I'm sorry, I have a fly that is about the size of my fist, just zooming around here, and it's catching my eye every time he flies that direction. I just want to smash him. Um, so as I begin to talk about this next thing, but so there's a movie on Netflix that we had not watched, but up until last night we decided to watch it, and it's Cowspiracy. It's not so much about the benefits of eating a whole food plant based diet, but it's more about the negative impact that we have on our planet because we eat meat products. And it was interesting watching the movie and being in the position that we're in now, because we aren't um, relying on animals to sustain us, or to for our food. And so I feel like we have a different relationship with that when watching this movie. If I'd have watched this movie a year ago or 2 years ago, then I may have been like, oh, that's BS or whatever. I may have tried to find ways to dismiss it. Whereas now when I'm watching it, I watch it with a little bit different lens, because we aren't eating animal products, and um, it's it, it's crazy to see the impact that us eating animals has had on our planet over time, and the impact that it could have going forward. It's um, it's something me and Carrie were making jokes about, like, uh, like, and it's weird too, because the jokes are made about being vegan, or like being that kind of you know living that lifestyle, or being that because we're not harming animals in that we don't eat them, but I wouldn't not buy something because it's made out of leather. Like, that's a distinction or a difference between um, eating not eating meat and being a vegan, I suppose. And so watching that movie was interesting to see it, like I said, in the perspective that I see it now. There's things that seem to make sense in my mind that I don't know why I hadn't thought of before, or like they talk about a big issue with, or the movie focuses on a big issue with us eating animals, is not just the meat itself, but it's the amount of agricultural space that's required in order for us to produce the food that feeds the animals that we eat. And it the idea it's just because I hadn't really thought of it, I guess, or like I said, thought it out logically maybe, but like the amount of if if you if you have a cow that you're raising to be your food, you have to feed that cow enough food so that it can live its day each day while it's living, but then also store on it the food that you are hoping to eat in the future from it. And unless that animal is taking 100% of the food that you give it and producing either an exact amount of nutrition and creating more nutrition, then uh then you're wasting that crop. Like if you use that same crop space to just make food for people to eat, it would take up less space because you're not trying to keep a cow alive all day as well. Like when you're, if I'm eating my food for today, the cow is also eating food that day. And then, yeah, I don't know. It's, there's a lot of, and they talk about like uh, and the movie, I guess, is, I think the byline is about sustainability, or like it talks about sustainability and how like they are starting to produce meat replacement products or meat substitutes that have better energy to, because in order to create anything you have to use up some energy uh when it comes to animal products. So anyways, it was interesting watching the movie. uh they do show a guy cutting the head off of a duck, which was like surprising, I guess. And I'm sure that they left that, or they put that in the movie to make it more dramatic. Uh, but that would be something that if you don't want to see that type of thing, just know that that's going to happen. It was interesting, but um, and it kind of goes, I think the whole point of them doing that and showing that was kind of that, because he was trying to kind of take the thing like, okay, if factory farming isn't, what if we just do it at our house? What if we just had our own supply of food that we raised at our house, and how would that be? And then he shows this guy that has ducks, that the guy um kills a duck, and he kind of ends that segment with like, I couldn't do that. Like he couldn't kill an animal to eat it. Now, if it came down to whether or not you had any food or not, I think, things may change, but uh as long as there's still plants, I think there'll still be food to eat without eating animals, right? That's the whole thing. But so yeah, just kind of wrap up the movie again. Just the uh it was good to see, that side of it. It was the director of the movie, he's a little bit abrasive, I suppose, or his tactics are weird, but it was the same guy that did the What the Health. I didn't realize that it was the same, and I imagine there's another one on Netflix called Seaspiracy, which we have not watched. But that was interesting. They spent a lot of time on fish in the movie Cowspiracy. I think maybe they didn't realize that there was a whole movie that they could do when they went in or something. But it was surprising how much they had on it, and I imagine that movie has a lot of information, because the um, probably the most interesting comparison they made between what we do in the ocean versus what we do on land is that in the ocean we use nets to catch everything, and so uh, we don't really see everything that they're catching as they catch things. And so they used an analogy that if you it would be like taking a net through the Sahara trying to catch gazelles, but then also catching elephants and rhinos and hippos and lions, and other animals that are in that area, hunting those as well, or living off those. Um, the uh, but that's what happens in the sea when they're trying to fish for sustainable fish, or fish that they say there's plenty of. They're picking up dolphins and seals and sharks and all kinds of other animals that are dying because of that. And we don't realize that. And I didn't. They I've heard about like the dangers, but it really hadn't. I didn't have a perspective on it until they kind of talked that analogy, or kind of the way it works. And um and so that other movie, Seaspiracy, would be something that we'll probably watch at some point. Carrie's saying that there was plenty of time for her to cover her eyes before. Yeah, they do give you quite a bit of warning that that's kind of what they're doing. I don't know that uh, you almost think that they weren't going to show it, like, oh, they'll just cut right off at that time, and then they didn't. So that would be something to look out for on that movie. Let's see what else I had. I don't have. We're about 30 minutes here. If anybody has any questions, I can go over that. But other than that, that's about all I had today. Weigh-in Wednesday was not the best weigh-in Wednesday. I did gain 1.2 pounds, but overall, I'm not worried about it. In the past month, I'm down over 10 pounds, probably over 12 pounds in the past month. I'd have to go back and look at the stream from back then, see what I was. So I did gain a little bit. It was my birthday week, so I'm also not too worried about it either, because there's some things that don't happen on a regular basis that, like my birthday that happened last week. So, we watched that movie last night, and it was good to see that perspective of things. It definitely makes me a little bit. It again, like I've said with the books and other things, it's just something that is strengthening my resolve with what I'm doing. So that is that's good to have. And shoot, I am probably gonna have to call that guy back. So, anyways, I am going to get out of here because I'm kind of pushing up against 30 minutes here. I want to thank you guys for checking out the broadcast today. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, make sure that you do hit the subscribe button. There is an icon, a bell icon. Click on that so you can turn on notifications, so you'll get notified when I do go live, which is generally at 4 p.m. on weekdays. I will be on tomorrow and Friday, I think. Next week, my schedule's still kind of up in the air. I'm working on some things. But the big thing for next week, and I guess I didn't even really, next week is, I feel like Carrie had the dates wrong on it, but hold on, let me check something here. But I have a doctor's appointment next week. I'm going to see a doctor next week, and it says the 7th. Okay, so Monday. It is Monday. So next Monday, I do have a doctor's appointment. I will go and see the doctor and hopefully get blood work done. and see how that goes. I'm looking forward to getting that done and seeing where I'm at. In hindsight, I do kind of wish I would have done something at the beginning as far as having blood work so I have something to compare it to. But, uh, you know, I'll just have it done now and see where I'm at. Again, I'm excited to see where some of those levels are. I've never had issues. When I lost weight a long time ago, I went and got blood work done quite a bit, and the only thing I ever really had an issue with was vitamin D deficiency, which is pretty common uh, in people that are overweight. So that's what I got going on next week. And then the Discord, we did have some activity on the Discord today. It was good to see that. And if you haven't checked that out already, the link is in the description down below. That will be active for 1 week. If you're checking this out later and you are looking for a more active link, try to find a newer video or send me a message. I can get you a link to the Discord. It's just a nice place to kind of share what's going on with you, ask any questions, and things like that. Just another place to reach us. But I am going to get out of here today. I hope you guys all have a good evening, and we will be back on tomorrow at 4 p.m. Central. Carrie says, the week we didn't have lots of snacks around, I gained weight. Yeah, maybe I just ended up eating more at the meals or something. I don't know. But we didn't have the cashews or the mango or any of that stuff. I don't know. But we did have, uh, yeah, the brownie and stuff on my birthday and other stuff. Who knows? It's all water weight. It's not really right. Anyways, I'll be back at it tomorrow, and we'll have a weight loss next week for weigh-in Wednesday. And if we don't, we don't, and then we'll start getting worried and maybe seeing about getting more strict about things or changing things up. But anyways, you guys have a good evening. If you haven't already started a diet, make sure you get going. Get something going. There's no reason to wait. It's definitely worth it. Nobody, I think, would say otherwise. And you guys have a great evening. We'll see you tomorrow.